He stepped into the ring barking like he owned the place. Not confident, not composed, not focused. Loud. The kind of loud that usually works in press conferences. The kind that works when microphones are around and cameras are rolling and fans are eating up every word like it's prophecy. But boxing has always had one brutal rule. Noise dies when the bell rings. And across from him stood a man who built his entire career on that truth. Isaac Pitbull Cruz doesn't need speeches, he doesn't need theatrics, he doesn't need psychological warfare. Because his language has always been pressure. Pure, suffocating, oxygen-stealing pressure. For years, fighters walked into fights against Cruz thinking they could bully him. They saw the size. They saw the short reach. They saw the compact stance. They thought he was someone they could push backward. Someone they could outbox. Someone they could out-talk. But they all learned the same lesson. Pitbull doesn't walk backward. He walks through you. The build-up to the Rolando Raleigh Romero fight was classic modern boxing theater. Romero mocked him openly, called him names, compared him to dogs, treated him like he was just another stepping stone. And for a while, the public bought it. Because confidence sells, charisma sells, trash talk sells. But violence always settles the argument. Cruz didn't respond with insults. He didn't respond with threats. He responded with something far more dangerous. He smiled. He stayed quiet. And anyone who studies fighters knows what that means. Quiet fighters are dangerous fighters. When the bell rang on March 30th, 2024, it wasn't a feeling out round. It was an invasion. Cruz exploded forward like a man who had already decided how the story would end. Heavy hooks, compact overhands, body shots that sounded like someone slamming a bat into wet leather. Romero tried to box, tried to clinch, tried to slow the storm. But Cruz is built differently. He doesn't chase heads first. He breaks bodies. And when a fighter's body breaks, the head follows. Round after round, Cruz marched forward like gravity. Not fast, not flashy, inevitable. Every time Romero tried to reset, Cruz was there. Every time Romero tried to breathe, Cruz was there. Every time Romero thought he found space, Cruz filled it with leather. By the middle rounds, you could see it. The confidence draining, the bravado shrinking, the realization that all the pre-fight noise meant nothing now, because now it was just survival. When the finish came, it didn't feel shocking. It felt inevitable, like a storm finally reaching land. Cruz became champion that night. Not just by winning, by proving something. You don't disrespect pressure fighters unless you're ready to drown in it. But Cruz's story was never about one fight. It was about proving something deeper. That heart matters more than hype. That pressure breaks style. That quiet fighters can still be nightmares. Then came February 1st, 2025, Angel Fierro. And this wasn't about disrespect. This was about war. All Mexican fights carry something different. Pride, legacy, history, violence layered with cultural identity. And from the opening bell, it looked like two men trying to carve their names into stone. No feeling out, no caution, just exchanges. Fire for fire, shot for shot. Cruz pushed forward like always, but Fierro wasn't folding. He answered back. And suddenly, this wasn't a domination story. This was survival versus will. Cruz threw like a man built for chaos. Short hooks, body work, uppercuts inside phone booth range. Fierro answered with straight power, counters, and pure toughness. The crowd understood immediately. This wasn't just a fight. This was a test of identity. Mexican boxing has always respected one thing above all: courage. And both men brought it in brutal amounts. By the middle rounds, both were marked up, both breathing heavier, both refusing to step back. The kind of fight where judges don't matter as much as survival. Cruz's conditioning started to show. The work rate, the body shots, the pressure never stopped. And by the final rounds, even though Fierro was still dangerous, still proud, still fighting, Cruz's pace told the story. Unanimous decision. Fight of the Year candidate. Not because it was perfect, because it was honest. Then came December 6th, 2025. Lamont Roach Jr. And this fight felt different. Not trash talk circus. Not pride war. This was style clash. Pressure versus movement. Aggression versus IQ. Roach came in confident. Maybe too confident. Talking about multiple ways to win. Talking like Cruz was predictable. But pressure fighters don't need multiple ways to win. They just need one. Forward. Early rounds were close. Roach landed counters. Used angles. Used movement. Made Cruz miss. And for the first time in a while, Cruz looked human. Frustrated. Forced to adjust. But then came round 3. And one moment changed everything. The knockdown. The first knockdown of Roach's career. Timing. Precision. Violence delivered at exactly the right moment. The crowd exploded. Cruz smelled momentum. But Roach didn't break. He adapted. Moved more. Countered smarter. Turned the fight into a chess match inside a bar fight. Late rounds became survival chess. Cruz pressing. Roach escaping. Trading when necessary. Running when smart. And when the final bell rang, nobody knew for sure. Majority draw. No robbery. No domination. Just war. And that's the thing about Isaac Cruz. He doesn't need undefeated records to build fear. He doesn't need perfect nights. He builds respect the old way. By walking into fire. By throwing until the final bell. By proving heart is still currency in boxing. Because in a sport filled with hype, Pitbull represents something older. Something simpler. You can mock him. You can doubt him. You can talk about reach and height and technique and footwork. But eventually, you have to stand in front of him. And when you do, talking ends. And history shows something very consistent. Overconfident fighters often walk in loud, but they leave quiet. Because pressure isn't just physical. It's psychological. It forces mistakes. It drains energy. It breaks rhythm. It breaks confidence. And sometimes it breaks careers. Isaac Cruz isn't just beating fighters. He's reminding the sport of something. Boxing is still about will. Still about heart. Still about who keeps walking forward when everything hurts. And maybe that's why fans love him. Because he fights like every fight might be his last chance to prove himself. No shortcuts. No coasting. No safe rounds. Just pressure. Constant. Relentless. Unforgiving. And as long as he keeps fighting like that, there will always be someone who thinks they can out-talk him. Someone who thinks they can outsmart him. Someone who thinks they can outpower him. And every time, they find out the same way. Under lights. Under pressure. Under leather.